Hi everyone, this is Laura Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video I will review the budgeting app and website Mvelopes. This is part of a series where I give my thoughts on a variety of budget apps. Mvelopes is a budget website and app. It's been around for a while, long enough that the most recent iteration is called Mvelopes 5. It allows you to link your financial accounts to the software to pull in transactions. It's not free. There is a free trial period, but after that you'll need to choose from one of their 3 price points. $6 per month gets you essentially just access to the budgeting software. $10 per month gets you more learning and debt management tools, and $19 per month comes with a quarterly meeting with a financial coach. So I've used a variety of budgeting apps over my adulthood. Most recently, I switched over from using Mint for many years to YNAB. That said, I'm always open to checking out other budgeting apps that may work better for me, for my financial mentoring clients, or for my subscribers. One caveat is that I've only been trying Mvelopes out for a couple of weeks, so my comments will reflect that. All interfaces get easier once you've been using them for a while. Okay, so first let's talk about the setup process. I had some issues setting up. I was trying to do it entirely through my phone, but it kept freezing on a certain screen, so I ended up having to go through the website to complete that process. Obviously, this is just a one-time thing, but it was annoying enough that if I hadn't been super determined, it could have lost them a customer. I really only wanted to put my credit card in as my linked account, but Mvelopes required a bank account with a positive balance before it would let you go forward. This is the only software I've come across that has required that. That shouldn't be a problem for most people, however. Some people would rather enter some of their accounts in manually, meaning not having them linked, and it won't let you do that either. The account has to be linked so that Mvelopes can automatically download transactions. The setup process seems to funnel you directly into funding your budget categories, which were not the right ones for my needs. So I would have preferred an opportunity to set up all those budget categories that work best for my household before hitting that funding process, but I was able to escape out of it. So now that I've gone through the setup process, let's talk a little bit about the Mvelopes interface. So there are lots of budget apps that are fashioned after the old money in physical envelope system that people used to use to control their spending. EveryDollar and YNAB are both basically envelope systems, but Mvelopes makes this metaphor the most explicit, as you can see by the name. And as a result, I think they make it easier to understand some of the budgeting concepts. If you want to see your budget, you click on Mvelopes, and each budget line item has a little envelope icon next to it. So this helps you to understand that you are putting cash into envelopes in the app. I also really like the way that Mvelopes deals with imported transactions that haven't been approved or categorized yet. It holds them in an inbox. If you are using the app on your phone, this is the very first screen that you will see. This is great since budgeters spend the majority of their time on the app categorizing transactions. Other apps make you click through a variety of screens to get to this, or even worse, they don't separate those new transactions from your others, so you have to go through all of them to weed out the ones that need categories or approving. The inbox makes this simple and easy. So the home screen shows you how much money you still have to put into envelopes. They call that your unallocated money, your most recent transactions, the balance of your linked accounts, and your envelopes, which is what they call your budget view. So let's talk about how they set up your budget. First, budget line items. So as I said before, these are called Mvelopes. I set this all up using the website view, but it's a little easier using the phone app. Changing and creating new budget items is kind of annoying. The process for editing one of their existing envelope details takes something like 8 clicks to get to the right place. It also takes 7 clicks to delete an envelope. Theoretically, once you get this all set up, you don't have to interact with this process much, but it is tedious. So I have to say I don't love the way that the envelopes are displayed either. There's no drag and drop to manually sort the envelopes. Envelopes are sorted alphabetically, period. On the phone app, you can sort by name or by balance amount, but still no manual sort. I have my budget items sorted in a very specific way based loosely on frequency of use, so this would bug me. In addition, Mvelopes doesn't allow you to use symbols in the envelope name, which I usually use to help me sort things to the top or the bottom of lists if they're being sorted alphabetically. Next, let's talk about budget groups. Mvelopes allows you to put your envelopes into groups which you can collapse or expand. The only problem is that they don't provide a group sum in the heading or total. So as far as I'm concerned, there's not much point in having a group. In addition, there are several groups that cannot be altered. You have to keep the default groups for debt and system envelopes. Groups are also sorted alphabetically with no other options. So even though I don't want debt at the very top of my budget groups, unless I name my budget groups something that occurs earlier in the alphabet, that's what I'm going to see first. Okay, once I got my budget items or envelopes and groups set up, the next step is to fund my envelopes. So there are two ways to fund or put money into your envelopes. The first is to manually enter the amounts for each envelope. So Envelopes calls this funding on the fly or manual fund. The other way is to fund based on a previously saved profile or a monthly funding plan. I like this feature. If you want to decrease the money in an envelope, you can't do this through the funding view. That is considered a transfer between envelopes, but there is a way to do this pretty easily. I also like the sweep envelope feature, which seems to be only available on the website, but it allows you to take each envelope down to a zero balance. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this to work for a single budget item on the website, but I think it would be really useful since I do this at the end of every month for about half of my budget items. So now let's talk about Envelopes budget reports. So the main budget report is the envelope screen. I have to say I don't love this screen. As I said, I have issues with the way that envelopes sort these, but beyond that, it gives you pretty limited information. You just get the balance in the envelope, how much was funded, and how much was spent that month. There's no subtotal for the budget group, and there doesn't appear to be a way to go back to previous months. On the website, you can't click through to see any of the transactions for that budget line for the month, but you can on the mobile app. So there are other reports on the website, but no more reports on the app. On the website, there is a report that only gives envelope balance, which you can total by group or just choose a single envelope. Again, no way to see a previous month. There is a report that shows essentially the same budget info, and you can change the date range and view by graph or by table. And finally, there is a way to pull transactions by envelope, which as far as I can tell is the only way to do this on the website. This report also allows you to export your transactions, which I think is key and very important. And finally, categorizing transactions seems pretty straightforward with envelopes. As I said, I love the inbox view with all the transactions that need to be approved. It is easy to choose an envelope to take the money out of, and it handles split categories like when you buy both clothing and groceries at Target. So I like the ability to attach a receipt to the transaction, and I can't comment on whether the app guesses your budget category for you or remembers what you put in the last time. It wasn't doing this for me, but I also didn't use the app for a long period of time, so it may do this once it learns your behavior better. I also like the ability to make changes to multiple transactions at one time. By selecting them all, you can assign them all to an envelope, apply a tag to all of them, or delete them. So I found Envelopes to be a full-featured budgeting app. It had some components that were very easy to understand and use, and some that would drive me a little nuts. Because of the envelope usage, I found it to be one of the more easy to understand platforms. But let me know what you think. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.